today's focus is going to be on subtraction with renaming. This model is all drawing. We don't necessarily have to do that way. The things that we did in class, we just renamed them as an improper fraction. And let me remind you of how to do that. If we're looking at 4 2/3, and I want to rename that, I'm going to multiply the whole number times the denominator. So 4 times 3 is 12. And then I'm going to add the 2. So that would be 14 thirds. I also attached an anchor chart that we made in class online, and that should help you with that part if you don't remember how to do that. So I'm going to show you number 1 on this page. 3 subtract 2 2/5. So we're going to do 3 wholes minus 2 2/5. Once again, I'm sorry if it zooms in and out on my hand, but I found that the best way to do these is using my phone to record while I'm writing, and it's not super easy. All right, so we can rename this fraction, or it's not a fraction, it's a whole number right now, which is the same thing as 2 plus 1. But if you'll remember in our other video, we talked about Mr. Sneaky 1. So I'm going to change that 2, and then my plus 1, how can I put Mr. Sneaky 1? I'm going to make him, because here's my Sneaky 1, remember? I'm going to make him where 5/5, because my denominator is a 5. So that one, we don't even have to rename it into an improper fraction after we do this, because then we can just say 5 subtract 2 is 3. And we never, ever, 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 ever add or subtract our denominators. So we're going to make that a 5. And 2 subtract 2 is nothing. So our answer is 3/5. That looks a little bit like a 6. Let me fix that. 3/5. So to reiterate what we did 3 is the same thing as 2 plus 1. And I made my 1 a Mr. Sneaky 1 and made him 5/5. So 5 subtract 2 is 3, and then I keep my denominator because I don't mess with my denominators when I'm adding and subtracting. So there's number 1. Let's look at number 2 on that example side. 2 1/4 subtract 1 3/4. Okay, I'm going to change these to an improper fraction first. So if you'll remember, you multiply the whole number by the denominator, then add the numerator. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Okay? This one is going to be 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7. And now it's easy peasy. 9 subtract 7, 2. And then we keep our denominators because we never, ever, 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 ever mess with our denominators when we're adding and subtracting. Unless they're unlike, and then we have to change them. But we never add or subtract the denominators. The rest of them are all in the same way. And I noticed when I was helping another student with this today on a video chat, there's a lot on this page. Pace yourselves. I don't want you to get bogged down. Do 5 problems a day. I mean, stretch this workout, make it last. Don't feel like you have to do 18 problems in a day. If you get overwhelmed, take a minute and just breathe. Don't do too much. And as I'm looking at this too, I wanted to go ahead and tell you, for this 6, go ahead and think of it as 5 plus 1 and make that 5. And Mr. Sneaky 1, let's put him in 5/5. Ooh, my pen is too fat. My flare pens are too fat. So 5 subtract 2 is 3. And then 5 wholes to take away 3 wholes is 2. So that answer is going to be 2 3/5. And I think that's the only one where... Oh, we got this one. I'll go ahead and help you with this one too. So the 7... we're going to make it a 6 plus 1. So it's going to be 6, and then Mr. Sneaky 1 is going to wear 5/5 again. Go figure, they must like 5s. So 5 subtract 3 is 2. Keep our denominator. Never, ever, ever, ever mess with that denominator when you are adding or subtracting. And then 6 wholes subtract 1 whole is 5 wholes. I also want to point out that you don't need to simplify, because we don't have to simplify in 4th grade. So when I was helping someone earlier, we came up with this answer. I'm okay to leave it in this form. This was number 5, I think. Let's see. Yes. This was number 5. So we just changed 4 times 8 is 32, plus 5 is 37. Then we came down here. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 7 is 23. And we subtracted those and got 14/8. They can leave it this way, which I'm completely okay with. Or if they want to change it, they can say 8 goes into 14 one time with 6 left over. Another way I taught them how to do it is to do 14 dots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and put it over your 8, which is your denominator. The next step is to divide it into 8. This tells me how many to circle off at a time, so I'm going to go in here and circle off 8. So I had one circled group with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left over, and 8 is my denominator. So 1 6/8 is the answer for that. They don't have to reduce that any farther. I mean, if they wanted to, it's 1 3/4, but they don't have to do that. Here was number 4 that I worked on earlier. We said 3 times 12 is 36, plus 1 is 37. 2 times 12 is 24, plus 11 was 35. So then 37 subtract 35 is 2. And we keep our denominator because we don't mess with the denominator. Let's see. And the last one that I didn't do on the video was number 3. So we just did 3 times 5 is 15, plus 3 is 18. Keep our denominator. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 4 is 14. Keep your denominator. 18 subtract 14 is 4. So our answer is 4/5. Remember, do a few of these at a time. Don't go overboard. Don't get overwhelmed. If you need help, let me know.